Hey everyone. Okay, it says I have a very bad connection. Okay, I think that's better. If you notice the connection failing, please let me know. As usual, I'm going to spend the first 10 minutes organizing where my camera is. Okay, so I'm juicing and I get asked questions all the time about when I'm juicing, if I'm doing it for weight loss, if I am doing it for weight loss, if that means I have an eating disorder, all this crazy stuff. I always get asked all these questions. Before I continue, because I always forget to do this, please subscribe to my channel. That way when I do live videos, you'll get notified right off the bat. I don't have to tell you. You'll get a notification and you can tune in, or you can save it and watch it later. You can do that with this video as well. If you give me a thumbs up, it'll save to your liked videos, and you'll remember to watch it again. But please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and I'm going to try and post more videos like this. So anyhow, I know I'm not alone in this. Somebody actually recently came to me and asked me about this, about being accused of having an eating disorder and being too skinny. And the first point that I want to make about people asking you if you have an eating disorder when you're a raw vegan or just a plant-based eater or just a health enthusiast, is that you get to choose whether or not to respond to something that is asked to you. I gotta start juicing. I wonder if that's too loud. If you're watching and this is too loud and you can't hear me over it, let me know. So you get to choose to respond to people. It sounds louder than normal. No matter what they ask you. So, and you get to choose how much it affects you. So, for me, it's gotten to a point where when I'm asked questions about having an eating disorder, I don't even respond. I've had people refer to my food that I brought places myself as eating disorder food, and those same people have now changed their diet and are vegan. So, I think questions like that tend to stop after you keep eating the way that you have been for a long time. But when you know in your heart that you're doing what's best for you and what's best for your health and your body and your spirit, then you don't really owe anybody an explanation. And the people that are going to ask you if you have an eating disorder are probably not ready to hear about your healthy lifestyle, and it's only, natural to want to share about it, but those type of people are not going to hear you. So the other thing is, what defines an eating disorder? To me personally, I think of people always say I have an unhealthy relationship with food. Well, to me, any relationship with food is an eating disorder. Food is meant to keep you alive, similar to oxygen or water. And you don't have a relationship with oxygen. You never heard somebody say, I have an unhealthy relationship with oxygen or with breath. You're grateful for those things, you appreciate those things, but a relationship means, if you guys are watching and you can't hear me over my juicer, please let me know. Okay, a relationship means that you can appreciate the thing and the thing appreciates you. It's not like when you take a breath, you're like, oh, I'm so grateful for that breath. And oxygen is like, oh, I'm so grateful you breathed me. No, it just is. It exists. It's the same thing with food. You're not really supposed to have a relationship with food. Food is meant to serve you. You eat it. It serves a purpose, and that's it. You just breathe. The juicer is noisy, but you can hear me. Okay. I wish I could somehow have you closer to my mouth than this, but then you'd be behind me. I don't know. So anyway, I'll try and yell. I wish I could muffle the sound of this. Anyway, so the obsession with food is all conditioning. We have been conditioned to put this emphasis on food. Anything beyond eating the amount of food necessary to live and function optimally, sure, for survival. Anything beyond that is conditioning. You know, the food is meant to keep us alive. Food is meant to give us the energy and fuel we need to survive. Anything beyond that is conditioning, and it is crafted by, originally, back when food pyramids started, the food pyramids were created by the companies that benefited from you eating those foods. I think I just read, I think it was Canada, but I might be wrong, is taking dairy off the food pyramid. You know, these things are conditioning, and it's not conditioning for your health, or, you know, conditioning isn't about the food. It's about family and social aspects, and it started out with like corrupt food pyramid creators, and now we're in this generation that's obsessed with getting all the nutrients, but we're also obsessed with going out to eat, and every single social engagement that we partake in revolves around food. So I encourage you to step outside of that, because that alone is a disorder. Like I said, anything beyond eating to have the amount of energy necessary to survive is much more disordered than caring about what you eat and only eating as much as you need to. But the other thing I was going to say is that, to me, not caring what you eat and consuming and changing and altering the food you eat and consuming so much of it to have a 5-minute taste bud party is a lot more disordered than only eating the foods that serve you. You know, knowing about heart disease and diabetes and digestive issues like irritable bowel syndrome and colon cancer and ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease and coronary artery disease and autoimmune diseases that are all caused by diet. I mean, genetics, you know, sets the stage, and then diet opens the curtain or whatever. You know, I don't know what those expressions are, but without poor diet, you don't have these things. So you knowing about all of those diseases, having those diseases, and continuing to eat animal products and fried foods and processed foods and refined sugars and refined flours, all that, continuing to eat all of these things, knowing that they are causing all of these diseases, knowing that you have a disease and you're continuing to feed it. That's a disorder. Making juice isn't a disorder. Doing anything for weight loss is not a disorder. When people say, oh, you're doing that to lose weight, do you have an eating disorder? No. Like, doing something for your health is not a disorder. Not giving a shit about your health, that's disordered. What does disorder even mean? The definition of disorder is a state of confusion. So to me, I feel as though eating optimally for my health is not being confused. Waking up in the middle of the night and binge eating potato chips sounds a lot more confused than juicing all day, or eating a raw vegan diet, or even eating a plant-based diet, or eating clean, or working out because you know you ate too much. That's maintaining your health. How is that a disorder? That's not a disorder. That's not a state of confusion. That's a state of awareness. That's a state of knowingness, of being in tune with yourself, of knowing your body's needs and fulfilling them, and not fulfilling beyond them. That's the other thing, is knowing your limits. That's not a disorder. Stopping eating when you don't need to eat anymore is not a disorder. Eating beyond the point of full, that sounds a lot more like a state of confusion to me than eating until you're full. Yes, I'm taking questions. I do need to keep juicing because my apples are going to rot because I already cut them up, but I will definitely take questions, so let me know what you got for me. I'm just trying to, I took a couple notes because I didn't want to forget any points I'm trying to make. But I really want to emphasize that if you're being accused of being too thin or having an eating disorder, you don't have to explain yourself to anyone, literally anyone. And the longer that you keep at this lifestyle, the less people will stop accusing you of being unhealthy, and eventually they start asking you questions. If you just tuned in, I, about 3 or 4 months into eating raw, your comment just disappeared. I think I can get it to pop back up. Brought my own food to dinner and had it called eating disorder food. And just recently, the same people that said that started eating plant-based diet. So people can change, and people take your choices as an attack on theirs. And when they aren't ready to change, then they get defensive and they want to ask you where you get your protein, and they want to tell you to go get your blood levels checked. Let me ask you this. Do you think our earliest ancestors sat around with a checklist making sure they got every single nutrient they needed? You know, nobody did that. When our earliest ancestors walked through the jungle until they found a banana tree, and then they ate those bananas until those bananas were gone, and then they moved on until they found food again. And there was no concept of nutrients. They just ate until they were full, and then they ate again when they were hungry again, you know? And there's no animal in nature that is wondering about nutrients or asking their friends if they got enough nutrients. They're not confused about what to eat. So I just really feel like you can explain yourself as much as you want to, but most often the people that are saying they're worried about you are not receptive to the information you're going to give them. But you just stay strong through that, and further down the road when they see that you are thriving, that you've lost weight, that you just keep leading by example and posting all the positive things you're experiencing, and, you know, connecting with other people that are on the same path as you, and eventually people who aren't are going to start asking you questions, and they're gonna be receptive. But when they're accusing you of having an eating disorder or nutrient deficiencies, you know, they're not really gonna be receptive to you. And when people tell me to get my B12 checked, I tell them to get their B12 checked, because most people that are not eating a nutrient-dense diet have plenty of deficiencies, much more so than people that are eating a plant-based diet. So you choose whether or not you want to get into it with these people. I don't anymore, and then I just feel really good when people seem to start make the switch. Let me read your comments again. I'm sorry. Okay. In terms of a support system, do you mean other people to keep you motivated, or just other people that can relate to you juicing, or people that support you in general? Like, for instance, I don't know. I have met one other raw vegan in real life, and he lives in Ecuador. Aside from a bunch of kids I went to a meetup with, but they live all over the country. And, you know, I met them on purpose. I met one other raw vegan by chance. I'm trying, okay. Other people that are also juicing. I've never done a juice fast where I had somebody doing it with me. There are a lot of great Facebook groups for juicing. I think one I'm in is called Juicing for Life. One is called like 30-Day Juice Challenge. I have a juicing group called Just Drinks Juice on Facebook. And I just try and encourage people to post about their juicing, to post when they have cravings, to post when they're struggling. And it also helps to get people in your life on board with motivating you, even if they don't understand why you're doing it. Yes, Peyton, I wouldn't say a coach. I'm a plant-based, raw vegan nutritionist. I'm a holistic living coach. I guess all those words are kind of interchangeable, but I do create juicing plans for people. I have done juicing for people specifically where I make their juice. I do all kinds of things. But definitely join those Facebook groups. If you comment your Facebook address below, I can add you to them. I have to start juicing again. I'm going to yell over my juicer. Because people post so much in those groups about what they're doing, and they say, post what kind of juice they made that day and how they're feeling. And sometimes it's really helpful to see somebody that's on like day 20 of their juice fast and how well they're doing to motivate you to get to that point. So you kind of just need to find these support systems if you don't have anybody in your life that supports you. Although, I'm stuck in my camera. My boyfriend is not juicing, but he knows that I'm juicing. I don't have to cook for him, or anything like that, so I don't struggle with that. That's a lot harder for people that have kids or husbands they cook for. But I really feel like when you're making a move for your health, that you have to be able to say, you have to cook for yourself while I'm doing this because it's too hard for me and my health is more important. Or you have to be able to say, I'm not going to be going out to eat for the next 30 days, 40 days, 3 years, whatever it is. And when I first went raw, it kind of was hard on my relationship because a lot of our relationship revolved around going out to eat. Now I kind of feel like our relationship is stronger because we have to find more things to connect on. And now my boyfriend is vegan. So you kind of just have to keep doing what's best for you. Find social media support systems, which I have been doing since I became raw vegan. It's like the only way to survive doing this is to find other people that are doing it also, that you can ask questions to, that you can message, which that's another thing. My Facebook name is Jess Eats Fruit also, so add me on there and you can message me anytime. And that's really the best way that I keep motivated juicing and living this lifestyle at all. So I guess that's it. I don't want to make this video too long because nobody will watch it. But please subscribe to my channel. Leave me questions in the comments. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Jess Eats Fruit. The only thing I'm not Jess Eats Fruit on is Snapchat, which is Jess Gone Coastal. But I don't use Snapchat that much. So yeah, and join my Facebook group, Jess Drinks Juice. I guess that's it, guys. Love you. Bye.